What's going on, guys? Still here. So, I decided to try out WARNO. It's basically the successor to Wargame and the Steel Division series of games made by Eugen Systems. And, well, I'm going to be brutally honest here, I don't like it at all. You might even be able to tell from the gameplay unless YouTube compresses it, but everything flickers. Like, I was on max settings and everything looked garbage. There looked to be like a weird like vibrating like film grain or flickering. You can kind of maybe see it on the trees or the edges of the buildings. This game visually to me looks about the same as City Skylines, and honestly, like, I was hoping to enjoy it, but everything I saw that I thought looked good, actually playing, I just don't really like it. I've only played a few games, but the AI basically just rush command vehicles. They go like in between the lines. The AI don't spread out enough, and especially for the objective-based focus, they just kind of, like I said, they just go for the CVs. It's just really weird how AI handled gameplay. I'm not even gonna play against real players because there's only two. There's literally only the U.S. 3rd Armored and like the Soviet, like, what is it, like 79th Brigade or whatever. It's really weird, and pretty much what my fear was is that they took the things that I didn't like from Steel Division and put them into the game. Mainly the way that aircraft interact just doesn't make any sense. It takes like 7 missiles to shoot down a MiG-31, and the speed and the reaction time and everything having to do with aircraft is just really stupid. It's like, okay, maybe like a couple of 50 cals or 20 mils to kill an aircraft in Steel Division, Normandy 44 or Steel Division 2, okay, but when it comes to having these jet fighters and they go 3 times the speed, it's all over the place. And you can see this gameplay here. I was fighting in a city, and multiple times I told my infantry to move, and they just didn't move, and they all got wiped out by like 3 T-80s and a BMP. It just, I don't know, like, I don't like how the Steel Division series of games has handled infantry. I don't like that infantry, like, one transport is one infantry, like, fighting force, and you can't group them together to strengthen their fighting force. I don't like that mechanic at all. It's really kind of frustrating, to be honest with you. I don't know. I don't like the way that the vehicles feel. They feel way too fast. The aircraft, like I just said, they don't mix well, especially between the aircraft themselves and the AA. It just doesn't mix. The AI behave really weird. The maps, I mean, they're okay, but these could easily have been Wargame maps. Like, they already have better design than half the maps in Red Dragon did. Bro, how many times did I tell this group of infantry to move through the city and they still haven't moved?
Ignite, gentlemen. We're going in.
Like, what the fuck is that? This game doesn't even look better than Wargame. It looks so much more aliased. Everything is flickering and having a goddamn stroke. It looks like shit. And it runs like shit, and I'm in a simple 2v2. These guys are out of laws, so they're dead. You can barely notice when something is out of ammo. Yeah, and the UI just doesn't make any logical sense at all. Like, everything is so cluttered, yet so tiny, that it's just kind of hard to easily read and click things. The deployment menu is okay, but for the most part, the UI is just... I don't know how something can be small, but also cluttered, like, at the same time. That's just weird to me. I understand that there's maybe more advanced UIs, but even, like, Steel Division 44 didn't have this bad of a UI, in my opinion. Just, it's weird. It's not functional to me. Things just overlap over the screen too much. The unit icons, well, I think they're cool in theory. They just kind of, they overlap each other. But the default option is to have them all like stacked next to each other. But even then, when they start moving and they start shifting around, it's really hard to click on something like multiple times because it'll move around in the stack, and it's just, overall, it's such a stupid UI. I don't like it at all when it comes to the visuals and the commanding of units. The AI just bum rushed the CVs as well. Like, this is dumb. Can barely read the text half the time as well. I don't care if it's trying to replicate the 1980s, it's not good for gameplay. Like,
Squadron ready. Stay low! We'll go. Spider ready.
3 T-80s just knocked down my entire force inside of a city. That's not even realistic or balanced. That doesn't make it. How did 3 T-80s just completely wipe my entire garrison city? Like,
The highway is hit!
that doesn't make any sense. I mean, this game pretty much solidified, like, my skepticism that it was going to be them trying to skin Steel Division as Wargame with the Cold War setting, and in a way they're trying to keep the pace of Wargame, but it just doesn't function with the flow, like with how they've built this game. It just doesn't function that way, and I don't like it at all. It's very, very frustrating. I don't care how much you want this to be Wargame, it's just not Wargame. Like, I know everyone's been really itching for another Wargame title, but this just isn't Wargame. This is Steel Division with Cold War vehicles, not Wargame.
Yes, Captain.
Oh wow, almost instantaneous unit call, and so if you make a mistake, you can't change it. That's really good. And now I know some people will say, well, Steel, it's in early access. That doesn't change the... Early access is the new demo. If you ever played on consoles as a kid, you remember downloading demos, and they were basically a sliver of the actual title. Early access just is cancer. Early access is the new demo. And the fact that, like, this game is in the state that it is in terms of only having 2 battle groups, this isn't a demo. This is an alpha test. You tell me that this T-80 is it's impossible for it to shoot this with its main gun. Really? I mean, like, no offense to people that have been really itching for a Wargame title, but like I just said, this isn't really Wargame to me. This is just Steel Division. I didn't like either Steel Division game. I don't like the pacing, I don't like the flow, I don't like the UI, I don't like the unit scaling, I don't like any of it. And I don't like how they've treated infantry. Infantry just feels so weak to me in these games. They don't even feel like they can work in a massive group and actually do something. I mean, this is cool what they did with the front line being the sectors and not the entire battlefield, but... I even made a WARNO themed keyboard. I can't. This game sucks. It's just like Steel Division. I can't. No, the UI is fucking cluttered, but yet everything is super tiny. You can't read anything. No. This game blows. They took Steel Division, they took Wargame and turned it into Steel Division, and I didn't like the Steel Division games because of their pacing, their everything. I didn't like the Steel Division games. I could only stand Normandy 44 with the Storm in the West mod, which basically rebalanced it to Wargame. Like, this game just sucks. Like, this isn't good. This isn't balanced. This isn't fun. This game needed way more time before we would even play it in early access. And they hid Wargame chat in the bottom right. That's like barely legible. On a 1920 by 1080 screen, like this UI is cluttered as fuck. This game sucks.